Welcome to the first episode of Buddhism and Hinduism, a religious rotation, an enlightening journey into the mysterious religion of two of the world's oldest and most influential faces. Whether you're a spiritual seeker looking to expand your understanding of these ancient traditions, or just curious about what all the fuss is about, you've come to the right place. Join us, we explore the fundamental principles, practices, customs, and stories that have shaped these vibrant cultures since time immemorial. So grab your popcorn and get ready for a spinning wheel of spiritual fascination. Namaste. In few words, what is the Buddhism? Let's recap it for the newbest among us. It is a religion and philosophy of Indian origin, and it is non-theistic. It does not propose the existence of a god. No, it is deeper than that. It is based on traditional Indian dharmic teachings, and in particular on the methods of the famous one that you might have heard about, the seeking of enlightenment, proposed by the ascetic and mendicant preacher Siddhartha Gautama, 563 to 583 before Christ. His nickname might tell you something, the Buddha or the Awakened One. With more than 500 million followers worldwide, especially in East and Southeast Asia, Buddhism is understood as a method for seeking transcendence. Be careful, not the same one that you're looking for when you're going to a rave party. And is therefore considered more of a philosophical doctrine than an organized religion. Buddhism is characterized by the search for nirvana, a spiritual state of peace and freedom achieved by overcoming dukkha, suffering, and samsara, the cyclical existence of the individual, consisting of birth, death, and rebirth. To this end, its adherents rely on spiritual techniques such as meditation, through which they pursue tranquility and contemplation and seek liberation within the individual rather than in the external environment. There are three main traditions within Buddhism, which vary according to their interpretation of the path to liberation proposed by the Buddhist method. These traditions or schools are the basis of modern Buddhism in different parts of the world and are Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, and Vajrayana Buddhism. Yeah, I know, like this they seem to mean nothing. Let me explain them in one sentence that will make them way much easier to understand. Theravada Buddhism is a way of understanding of the earliest teachings of the Buddha. In two words, this is the most traditional approach to practice and meditation. Mahayana Buddhism is emphasizing compassionate action and postponing his enlightenment in order to help others. Vajrayana Buddhism might be the favorite for most of you. This one refers to the esoteric rituals and the path of the Tantra, can be as well referred as a Tantric Buddhism. Buddhism is based on the teaching of the Indian ascetic and preacher Siddhartha Gautama, better known as Buddha, after his spiritual awakening. Yeah, because of course, before he was just named the drunk guy from the street, but this is another story. Born into an aristocratic family in the ancient Republic of Sakya in the 5th century before Christ, Siddhartha saw the suffering of the people and gave up his social status and privileges to live a life of meditation and asceticism, until the day he finally found the path to spiritual awakening. In opposition to the traditional Brahmanical practices of India, Gautama Buddha preached his method based on mindfulness, ethical training, and dhyana meditation to a growing community of followers, kind of a lifestyle influencer of his time. Buddhism as a religion emerged between the 5th and 4th centuries before Christ and spread throughout India. Unlike theistic religions, however, Buddhism did not propose the divination of Buddha or his kinship with God, but rather offered Gautama's method and beliefs as a path to spiritual enlightenment. Buddhism flourished under numerous empires in India between the 4th and 11th centuries, during which time its four main schools developed: Madhyamaka, Yogacara, Tathagata-garbha and Pramara. Due to its local success, Buddhism soon spread throughout Sri Lanka and Central Asia. From the 10th century, however, Buddhism began a slow decline in favor of Hinduism and soon lost much of its traditional territory in Asia. From the 19th century, Buddhism began to penetrate the West, where it found a large following, especially in the 20th century. This is a great deal to this religion, so let's start by it. According to Buddhist teachings, human beings are in a constant state of existential suffering caused by craving, desire, or attachment. This state of eternal suffering is called samsara and occurs because all souls are caught in the eternal wheel of rebirth. After physical death, souls ascend to higher forms of existence or descend to cruder and more basic forms, depending on their moral and spiritual conduct in life. The only way to break this eternal cycle of suffering is to attain nirvana. For Buddhism, nirvana is achieved through spiritual enlightenment practices that allow the individual to leave behind suffering and desire and escape reincarnation to find infinite peace. In other words, we are all stuck in a loop and we need to find a solution to this puzzle, even if it won't be unlocked. We'll still be here, looping around in different lives. One of the most representative symbols of Buddhism is the drama wheel, Dharma chakra, which is shaped like a rubber and is one of the symbols of Dharma, or law or religion, in Buddhism, as well as in Hinduism and Jainism. The 8 points of the wheel symbolize the eightfold paths proposed by Buddha. Like many other religions, Buddhism is a product of a strong oral tradition, as the Buddha's words were passed orally by his followers rather than through written texts. Unlike theistic religions, there is no single canon of foundational texts in Buddhism and its traditions, nor is there a consensus on how the surviving texts should be interpreted. Let's be honest, it would save us from many problems if most European theistic religions were like this. However, the Theravada Buddhist school, for example, takes the Pali Canon, Pali Tiptika, as its main canon. Hinduism, or Hindi religion, is one of the major religions of the planet. Born in the Indian subcontinent, it is one of the oldest and most complex religions in existence, as it lacks a unique and structured body of beliefs and practices, becoming rather a philosophy of life. In fact, its practices were baptized as Hinduism by the British colonists in the early decades of the 19th century, since those who practice it prefer to use the term Dharma, which comes from Sanskrit. I know, both of them means literally nothing to you. No worries, I'm here to investigate for you. Dharma has various meanings, such as law, duty, custom, virtue, morality, and rightness. Dharma is a Sanskrit word meaning the law that holds together, as well as a force that binds together. Although it is a majority religion in several countries and has more than 1 billion adherents worldwide, Hinduism is more easily understood as a set of spiritual practices than an organized and hierarchical world. In fact, there is no religious leader among the world's adherents, nor is there a Hindu church per se, but to compensate, they have temples, so not the same, but still a bit. Nevertheless, it is practiced as a majority religion by 80.5% of the population of India and 80% of the population of Nepal, as well as on the island of Bali in Indonesia or the island of Mauritius in Africa. There are also numerous practitioners in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Bhutan, Burma, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka and Thailand, as well as in the minorities in Europe, the United States, Panama and Trinidad and Tobago. Hinduism is the result of the amalgamation of a number of ritual and spiritual practices that originated in the Indian subcontinent. It is largely derived from Brahmanism, the ancient Indian religion also known as the Vedic religion. This religion existed between 1500 and 700 before Christ and served as a common root for Hinduism, born between the 5th and 3rd centuries before Christ, and Buddhism born around the 4th century before Christ. Because it does not have a single central set of beliefs, Hinduism does not have a single sacred text, as other religions do. Let's be honest, at least they are not losing anyone through thousands of unreadable pages as the others, but instead it reverses a number of ancient scriptures that are divided into two groups, or sects. Shruti, her name comes from Sanskrit and means the heard, and Hinduism follows her instructions to the letter. Spirit, its name comes from Sanskrit and means the remembered. These are sacred texts that, unlike the previous ones, require interpretation or an inspirational or allegorical reading, always doing good stuff when we let people to interpret anything they want about religion, isn't it? In addition, Hinduism identifies Purusartha, or vital truths, as its main vital concepts from which the entire framework of the religion can be defined. These are dharma, religious duties, artha, wealth, karma, pleasure, and moksha, liberation from the cycle of reincarnation or samsara. Based on these four fundamental precepts, the ashram or stages in the life of Brahmin, a member of the priestly castle of the ancient Brahminic religion, are understood. Brahmacharya or celibate disciple, Grihastha or married life, Vanaprastha or retreat into the forest, Samnyasa or total renunciation. As we will see, the number 4 is very important in this tradition, which explains the presence of the 4 arms in the representations of their gods. On the other hand, Hinduism does not deal with the Judeo-Christian concept of sin, although it does propose a number of traditional commandments, such as the prohibition of eating meat, especially beef, since it's considered a sacred animal. The prohibition of marriage between persons of different social castes. It was a way of this period to make sure to keep the rich between rich and poor between poor. What an open-minded religion. But this is just my point of view. Let's continue. Hindus must pursue enlightenment by rejecting the material world and its pleasures to avoid the eternal cycle of death and reincarnation known as samsara. Offering should always be made at the altar to major and minor deities, depending on the variant of the cult practiced. Let's be honest, no one knows how to make the difference between those two religions. If you do, please comment the main reasons in the comments. Otherwise, hear what I found. These two religions are often considered sister religions because of their common root. Both originated in India as a reinterpretation of many of the precepts of the Vedic or Brahminic religion. However, their paths diverge quite a bit, to the point that today they present important and distinct differences, such as Hinduism has a very diverse pantheon of deities, while Buddhism is non-theistic. That is, it does not propose the existence of gods or superior beings, but it does propose a path to enlightenment. Buddhism proposes a path of inner discovery and detachment from the real world in order to escape the eternal wheel of suffering and reincarnation that is life. Hinduism pursues a similar goal, but does so through ritual practice and adherence to a spiritual path governed by the gods. Unlike Hinduism, which has no prophets or founders, Buddhism is governed by the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, Buddha, the enlightened one. So, you get the difference, not a god or a prophet, but an enlightened one. Visibly, there is a difference somewhere. Thanks guys for watching me. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to religion. I am going to continue my journey to discover more all of them. I found it fascinating. Tell me what you think about it in the comments and I see you next Friday on this same channel. Bye bye!